Look at your hand. Right now, chances are you are holding a black mirror, a device that gives you access to the sum of all human knowledge, connection to anyone on the planet, and infinite entertainment. By all historical metrics, you are a god. You have powers that kings and emperors of the past would have killed for. And yet, look at the data. Anxiety is at an all-time high. Depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide. We are the most connected generation in history, yet we are suffering from an epidemic of loneliness. We are overfed, yet spiritually starving. We are stimulated, yet bored to death. Why? We like to think we are modern, sophisticated beings. We tell ourselves we have outgrown the old superstitions. We don't fear fire and brimstone. We don't fear judgment from the clouds. We believe in science, in logic, in algorithms. But what if I told you that the map to your current suffering was drawn 1,600 years ago? What if the specific glitch destroying your mental health right now isn't a modern phenomenon, but an ancient code that has been hacked? For 2 millennia, humanity stared into a dark mirror known as the 7 deadly sins. To the modern ear, that phrase sounds archaic. It sounds like religious control, a list of arbitrary rules designed to shame you into submission. But tonight, we are going to strip away the theology. We are going to ignore the priests and the pulpits. Instead, we are going to look at these 7 concepts through the lens of evolutionary psychology and modern technology. Because these aren't just sins. They are the source code of your suffering. They are the 7 ways your survival instincts have mutated into self. And the terrifying part, the modern world isn't trying to save you from them. The modern world has built a $1 trillion economy on top of them. Welcome to the Anatomy of the Shadow, Part 2. The operating system to understand the machine. We must look at the blueprint. Long before Freud, long before Jung, and long before neuroscience mapped the dopamine pathways of the brain, a group of radical thinkers retreated into the Egyptian desert in the 4th century. They were called the Desert Fathers. One of them, Evagrius Ponticus, realized something profound. He noticed that when you strip away the distractions of society, when there is no Netflix, no market, no status, games, the human mind doesn't find peace. It attacks itself. Evagrius identified 8, later condensed to 7 specific thoughts, or logismoi, that hijack human consciousness. He didn't see these as moral failings. He saw them as a sickness of the soul. Think of the human mind as an operating system. Its goal is survival. Find food, find a mate, conserve energy, defend the tribe. The 7 deadly sins are what happen when that operating system gets a virus. They are survival instincts turned up to a pathological degree. The biological need for food glitches into gluttony. The biological need for rest glitches into sloth. The biological need for reproduction glitches into lust. The biological need for status glitches into pride. We are running ancient hardware in a modern world that is designed to overheat us. Let's open the hood and look at the engine of your misery. Part 3. The distorted self-pride and envy. The first glitch is the architect of isolation. Historically, it's called pride superbia. Today, we have a better name for it. Main character syndrome. Pride is not self-esteem. It is not the satisfaction of a job well done. True pride is a severance of connection. It is the delusion that you are the sun, and every other human being is just an NPC, a non-player character orbiting your gravity. It is the refusal to apologize because your ego treats vulnerability as death. It is the inability to learn because you believe you already know. Pride builds a fortress to protect a fragile ego, but eventually, you realize the fortress is a prison. You are safe inside, yes, but you are completely alone. And standing right next to pride is its toxic twin, envy. Why envidia? Envy is unique among the sins. Lust feels good. Gluttony tastes good. Sloth feels comfortable. But envy is pure pain. It is the only vice that offers no pleasure. It is not just wanting what someone else has. That is jealousy. Envy is darker. Envy is the sorrow at another's success. It is the secret wish that they would fail so you could feel better about yourself. In the digital age, We have built a comparison engine. You scroll through Instagram, comparing your behind the scenes, your anxiety, your mess, your doubts with everyone else's highlight reel. It is a rigged game. You are comparing your internal reality with their external fabrication. And the result? A deep, gnawing sense of inadequacy that no amount of achievement can fill. The fix. The antidote to pride is radical humility, the realization that you are not the center of the universe, and that is a relief. The antidote to envy is compersion, a Buddhist concept of feeling joy for another's joy. It requires retraining your brain to say, their success is proof that it is possible, not proof that I am a failure. Part 4. The hungry ghost, gluttony, lust, greed. If pride and envy attack the mind, the next 3 attack the dopamine receptors. These are the sins of consumption. In Eastern philosophy, they call this the hungry ghost, a creature with a giant stomach but a tiny pinhole mouth. It can never be full. First, gluttony. Gula. We used to think of this as a fat king eating a turkey leg. But modern gluttony isn't about food. It is about information and dopamine. It is the inability to sit in silence. It is the compulsion to pull out your phone at a red light. It is doom scrolling at 2 a.m., consuming terabytes of information but digesting none of it. We are mentally obese. We are stuffing ourselves with content to anesthetize the pain of being present. We consume to avoid feeling. Next is lust. Luxuria. Lust is not even sex. Lust is vampirism. Lust says, I want to take from you to feed me. In the age of Tinder and OnlyFans, we have industrialized lust. We have turned human beings into commodities. We shop for partners like we shop for shoes on Amazon. This creates a culture of intensity without intimacy. We get the high, but we don't get the connection. And we wonder why we feel lonelier after the act than before. And finally, greed, avarice. Greed is not about money. It never was. Greed is the existential terror of scarcity. It is the belief that I will finally be safe if I just have enough. But there is no enough for a hole in the soul. Whether it's the billionaire hoarding wealth while the world burns, or the average person hoarding clothes they never wear, greed is an attempt to build a wall of material objects against the fear of death. But the wall never works. The fear is always waiting on the other side. The fix. The antidote is temperance and detachment. It is the sacred pause. Before you scroll, buy, or consume, wait 10 seconds. Ask yourself, am I hungry or am I bored? Am I seeking connection or just distraction? Reclaim your sovereignty over your impulses. Part V. The reaction, wrath, and sloth. When the world doesn't give us what we want, or when the dopamine runs out, we default to the final 2 glitches. The reaction. Wrath, ira. This is anger that has lost its purpose. Anger can be useful. It defends boundaries. But wrath is the desire for vengeance. Today, wrath is the currency of the internet. We are addicted to outrage. We wake up looking for something to be offended by, because righteous anger releases dopamine just like cocaine. Cancel culture, road rage, political polarization. This is recreational wrath. It feels good to be angry. It feels like power, but it is actually a loss of control. It is drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And finally, the most dangerous sin of the modern age. Sloth. Do not mistake sloth for laziness. It is not about sleeping in. The ancient Greeks called it asidiatha, noonday. Diman. It is spiritual apathy. It is bed rotting. It is nil elis. It is the state of knowing exactly what you need to do to fix your life, and choosing to do nothing. It is the belief that nothing matters, so why try? Sloth is the suicide of the soul while the body keeps breathing. It is the refusal to accept the burden of your own potential. The fix, the antidote to wrath, is forgiveness. Not because they deserve it, but because you need to evict them from your head. The antidote to sloth is memento mori, remember you will die. Your time is a non-renewable resource. Action precedes motivation. You will never feel like doing it. You have to move the body, and the mind will follow. Part 5. The Algorithmic Devil, the Modern Twist. Here is the terrifying truth that brings this all together. The ancient monks warned us about these demons. They spent their lives in caves, trying to fight them. But they never could have predicted that we would build machines to amplify them. In the 21st century, the 7 deadly sins are not just spiritual pitfalls. They are business models. Silicon Valley has weaponized your psychology against you. Instagram monetizes your envy and pride. It sells you a distorted mirror and asks you to compete. Tinder monetizes your lust. It gamifies human connection. Amazon monetizes your greed and gluttony. It removes the friction between impulse and purchase. Twitter X monetizes your wrath. The algorithm promotes conflict because conflict keeps you engaged longer than peace. Netflix and TikTok monetize your sloth. The autoplay feature and the infinite scroll are designed to strip you of your agency, inducing a state of hypnotic AC. We are fighting a war for our souls, against supercomputers that know our weaknesses better than we do. They know when you are lonely, they know when you are angry, and they feed you the exact content to keep you in that state. Because a happy, content, self-controlled human is a terrible customer. Part 7. The exit actionable advice. So, how do we escape? How do we break the loop? We do not try to become saints. We do not try to become robots without feelings. As the psychologist Carl Jung said, I'd rather be whole than good. The goal is not repression. It is integration. You must acknowledge the shadow. When you feel envy, don't suppress it. Ask it, what does this tell me about what I truly want? Use it as a map, not a weapon. When you feel wrath, transmute it into a fight for justice, or fuel for your workout. When you feel pride, let it remind you to hold your head up, but keep your feet on the ground. You have to reclaim your attention. Your attention is the only thing you truly own. When you give it to the algorithm, you are selling your soul by the second. The protocol for the modern soul: disconnect to reconnect. Take 1 hour a day with no screens. Starve the digital demon. Create over consume. Gluttony is consumption. The cure is creation. Write, build, speak, move. Seek friction, lust and greed. Want easy paths? Choose the hard path. Deep relationships, earned success, delayed gratification. Practice gratitude. It is the only shield against envy. You cannot be envious and grateful at the same time. The 7 deadly sins are not just a list of ways to die. If you read the map correctly, they are a guide on how to live. They show you exactly where your holes are, so you can finally fill them with something real. The cage is open. The screen is just a screen. You can put it down. You can walk out. The question is, will you?